Welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here because we're looking at something literally mind-bending today. We're taking a deep dive into this wildly popular digital content that somehow bridges cutting-edge AI with timeless spiritual teachings. If you've ever found yourself staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., your brain just running a marathon of anxieties, regrets, or those endless what-ifs, well, this Explainer is exactly for you. We're unpacking how an ancient philosophy about overthinking is making massive waves in our super modern, totally distracted world.
So, here's the big question. Can artificial intelligence actually teach us how to quiet the human mind? I know, it sounds totally contradictory, right? We usually blame our screens and tech for our scattered attention spans, but the source material we're analyzing today flips that on its head. It uses AI as the very vehicle to deliver these profound ancient meditation techniques. It's an incredible meta-narrative. We're basically getting this deep philosophical remedy for our modern burnout, delivered through literally the most advanced tech we have right now. Okay, so let's clarify exactly what we're looking at here. Original Osho teachings versus this viral video content. The source material is heavily inspired by the late spiritual teacher Osho, specifically his thoughts on overthinking. But, and the creators make this super clear, this isn't the real Osho speaking. It's a respectful AI-generated interpretation. The voice is completely synthetic, the visuals are all artistically designed using AI to give off this peaceful, spiritual vibe, and the script itself is an original interpretation written to express his timeless teachings. So it's essentially a modern creator channeling ancient wisdom through a purely digital lens.
And honestly, the hunger for this specific message is just massive. Just look at these view counts. 1.2 million views, nearly 500,000 views, another with 415,000 views, and these are all centered entirely around finding inner peace and escaping the trap of the mind. These aren't just, catchy pop music videos. They're incredibly dense philosophical explorations of consciousness. These numbers are a huge indicator that we're dealing with a modern epidemic. There's this massive collective craving out there for a cure to those exhausting thought loops that totally define our digital age. People are, quite literally, searching for a way out of their own heads. Which brings us to Section 1, the trap of overthinking. This is the core problem the material tackles, and it definitely pulls no punches. It says, you are entirely trapped in the illusion of your own mind. Think about that for a second. The source doesn't just call our constant mental noise a mild annoyance, it calls it a self-made prison. We generate our own anxieties, we script out our absolute worst-case scenarios, and then we live inside them like they're real life. The philosophy here suggests that this chronic overthinking is the ultimate barrier blocking us from true self-realization. Basically, as long as the mind is screaming, the true self stays completely hidden. Moving right along to Section 2, shattering life's illusions. So, to quiet the mind, the source argues we first have to totally dismantle the societal conditioning that made it so noisy in the first place. And it starts with a bang. Break the chains. These relationships are fake. Now, as an explainer, I'm absolutely not telling you to go abandon your friends and family, but let's neutrally unpack what this philosophy is actually targeting. It argues that a huge chunk of our anxiety comes from clinging to inauthentic societal connections. We overthink because we're constantly managing our image, maintaining these facades, and keeping up relationships based on mutual utility rather than, genuine connection. The material suggests that acknowledging the superficiality of these ties is actually step one toward freeing your mind from the stress of maintaining them all. Then, it hits us with a completely counterintuitive perspective. Money never comes from hard work. Now, in our hustle culture society, that sounds absolutely outrageous, doesn't it? But within the context of this spiritual philosophy, it's a direct challenge to our endless striving. The underlying argument isn't telling you to be lazy. Actually, it's suggesting that true abundance, whether that's material or spiritual, flows from a state of aligned awareness and inner peace, not from that anxious, grinding, overthinking struggle we've all been conditioned to believe is so necessary. Now, this next point is absolutely crucial. The quote is, "Comparison is poison." The source identifies comparing our lives to others as the ultimate toxin for the human mind. Think about it. When you look at someone else's success or wealth, your mind instantly kicks into overdrive, right? It generates jealousy, feelings of inadequacy, and this endless plotting on how to catch up. The material strongly emphasizes that this comparative mindset totally destroys any chance of inner peace. You just can't have a quiet mind if you're constantly busy measuring your life against somebody else's. Let's look at Section 3, the ultimate solution, becoming the silent witness. All right, having deconstructed all the ways we totally torture ourselves, we finally reached the philosophical antidote. To counter this overwhelming mental chaos, we need a fundamental shift in how we experience our own existence. And it revolves around this one specific term, Sakshi Bhav. This translates to witness consciousness. The secret to true meditation, according to this philosophy, isn't about forcefully trying to empty your mind. It's actually about stepping back. Sakshi Bhav is the practice of calmly observing your thoughts as they pass by, almost like watching clouds move across the sky. You don't attach to them, you don't judge them, and you definitely don't fight them. You simply witness them. You start to realize that you are the sky, not the clouds. The source goes on to explain that achieving this state of Sakshi Bhav unlocks the real meaning of Shiva. In this context, it represents the transition from the chaotic mind to the silent observer. It's a shift from profound inner turmoil straight into profound stillness. You're separating your true identity from the endless chatter of your brain. Sure, the mind might still be bubbling up with thoughts, but the silent observer? The observer is no longer bothered by them at all. So let's pull all of this together into the journey to peace. The source lays out this really logical 3-step progression out of overthinking. Step 1, recognize you are not the mind. You've got to separate your core identity from the mental noise. Step 2, stop comparing. Just cut off the fuel supplied to your anxiety by dropping those societal illusions and the constant need to measure up. And step 3, achieve Sakshi Bhav. Practice being that silent, detached observer of your own internal world. And this brings us to this absolutely beautiful clarification. It says, meditation is not an action, it is a profound state of being. You know, we so often treat meditation like it's just another chore on our daily to-do list, like something we have to actively do to wrestle our brains into submission. But the deep truth presented here is that true peace actually comes from completely letting go. You can't fight the mind using the mind. You can only transcend it by just resting in a state of pure awareness. So I want to leave you with this deeply provocative question straight from today's source material. If you are not your mind, and you are not those endless overthinking thoughts, then who is listening to my voice right now? Think about that for a second. Take a moment of stillness today to see if you can feel the presence of that silent observer within you. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this ancient wisdom helps you find just a little more quiet in our very noisy modern world.